Hi, this is Mark Harrison, and this is my Module 2 analysis discussion. The course I'll be discussing is ACTE 630, Current Technology for Online Instruction, which I just took this past fall. I did take some other online courses, but they were so long ago that I don't really think they're applicable. So let's cut to the chase. How did it hold up against the standards? Well, of course, very well. When you compare it to chapters 3 and 4, the assignments were varied, engaging, authentic, expectations were clear, assessment criteria were clear, all materials were appropriate for the level. There was a great deal of depth and breadth, and it was obvious that the instructor, Professor Drayon, had modeled his instruction based on materials similar to chapters 3 and 4. So let's just compare it standard by standard. Okay, the course overview. Here I'm looking at the course overview, and here we see getting started, course syllabus, module due dates. Here's a help button in case you need technical support. So it's very good. He did a video introduction. I think he did quite a bit of written introduction. Statements introduced the purpose and the structure of the course. Etiquette expectations were clearly communicated. Standards of academic integrity are in the syllabus. He did provide a self-introduction, and prerequisite knowledge is indicated. The learning objectives for the course were clearly stated. The learning objectives for each unit were clearly stated. If I click on any one of these modules, one of the first things that comes up is the module objectives, which are very clearly stated. Then there's a nice overview. The requirements are very clearly stated. So everything is nicely stated very clearly. They're completely appropriate for the age level of the students. I suppose they're written from the standpoint of the student. Assessments and measurement. He was very transparent about how we would be assessed. The types of assessments were communicated clearly at the beginning of each module. The due dates were clearly communicated. Importantly, the expectation for student interaction was clearly communicated, and the rubric for grading that was communicated very well as well. Assessment strategies allowed us to monitor our own progress. And there were, I suppose, multiple methods of assessment, more varied assignments. That's again from chapters 3 and 4. The assignments were varied and very meaningful. The instructional materials were adequate. I enjoyed the textbook for the course. The supplemental materials were also quite engaging. I recall that I was a little bit incensed by one of the readings just because of personal experience I had with the topic of the digital immigrant, but the instructional materials were engaging and appropriate for our level. I don't know if the course was culturally diverse and bias-free, but I'm not necessarily the one to judge that. And all of the resources were clearly cited. Learner engagement. It was impossible not to be engaged in this course. One of the requirements, I'll go to it now, were the online discussions, where we absolutely had to interact with our peers, just like in the course we're in now. So it had the nice discussion boards like we have, and we were expected to make a post, and we were expected to respond appropriately to student posts. So we were engaged, and there was a nice sense of community. And again, the requirements for student interaction were clearly stated. The course tools supported the objectives. D2L is, I suppose it still has some bugs, but it's a pretty mature technology. I didn't have any difficulty with it at any point. Navigating through the course was pretty straightforward and intuitive. Learner support was available throughout. I had a technical issue once. I think I I posted something under the wrong heading or something like that, and that problem was taken care of very quickly. Accessibility, course accessibility. Information is provided along with guidance. For obtaining student accommodations, can't really speak to that. Or the alternatives to auditory and visual content. The course ensures screen readability. We studied these things. I suppose that the course itself would have had these things had we needed. Now, how is this going to impact me as I create my own lessons? For the three-day unit, I don't know that we'll have to bring all of these tools to bear for the 3-day unit, but as we look ahead to making larger units, I think one of the keys is that the clear communications, the clearly established written communication at the very beginning, the beginning of the course, the beginning of a unit, the beginning of an activity, how it's going to be presented, and how it's going to be assessed. That gave me a comfort level during that class, so that I knew right where I stood, I knew what I had to do to master the objectives. And so I found that course very clearly aligned with the standards from the QM K-12 secondary rubric. So, thank you.